Hello, I'm Brian Critchell and I'm here today with Stuart Southall, who is Chairman of the Association of Consulting Actuaries and also, in his day job, Chairman of the Actuarial Consulting Services of Punter Southall. Stuart, welcome. Thanks for coming. Implemented consulting. Big consulting firms with investment consulting arms now moving into the implementation of their investment advice. Some doing it with hardly a pause for breath. In the past, as a trustee myself, I've always regarded actuaries as one of the trusted advisors. How do you deal with the conflict that surely must be only too evident? It is to me, the potential conflict between the actuarial consulting side and the investment implementation side of the same firm.
Yeah. Well, I think here, Brian, I can only really speak personally from my own Punter Southall experience.
No, that's fine.
And we have an investment consultancy arm which is kept very separate from the actuarial consulting business and has some actuaries in it. They are not, not uniformly the most senior people in it. There are other investment specialists in it. We keep it quite separate. And they were, through the PSOLV brand, one of the first people into the fiduciary management space. And rightly, they acknowledged the conflicts. And they took a lot of criticism from potential competitors in the early days, effectively along the lines that the conflicts were irreconcilable. Now, market development suggests to me that, in fact, the conflicts haven't changed, but the view of some of our competitors must have changed because now suddenly they wish to be in the space. I think it is an issue that all trustees, and part of my day job I actually am a chair of trustees of a fairly large scheme, so all trustees must be fully aware of those conflicts. But we all have them, and we all have them, actuaries have them, the trustees they advise them have them, people who are members of pension schemes or in senior management have them, and we have to do our best to manage them. So I think it's a two-stage process. One, to be honest in recognising the conflicts, and secondly, to see that they're managed properly. I don't think it undermines the fiduciary management model if it's run properly. Again, that's not an appropriate model for everyone, but it is, as you suggest, a completely different model to a pure consultancy one. And I think that transition, if the client wishes to make it, from pure investment consultancy to fiduciary management, has to be very, very sensitively handled. And there is some evidence that it isn't always handled in that way.
I think you've raised two questions here, Stuart. The managing the transition and managing that conflict, potential conflicts sensitively, but also the quality of the product that's actually on offer. And there seemed to be a wide variation in different business models for implementing consulting, fiduciary management and so forth. What to your mind would be the differentiator or the key things that trustees should look for, as well as being sensitive to the issue of potential conflict?
Well, I think firstly on the transition, what trustees should be looked for is some honesty from the investment consultant, who, if he wishes to put forward a new model, is quite clear in explaining that it is a new model and that his firm, for example, may not be the only provider of that model. So I think circumstances which I have seen, where you've gone straight from a pure investment consultancy model to a pure fiduciary management model with no market testing, frankly, is rather poor governance. It shouldn't be allowed by the investment consultants or encouraged, and shouldn't be allowed by the trustees if they're doing their job properly. In terms of what are the differentiators, I would like to think that the best products are those that are absolutely clear at the outset as to what the aims are, and those probably ought to be driven off some sort of liability-driven measure. Secondly, is absolutely clear as to how performance will be monitored. And thirdly, and ideally, should be absolutely clear as to the consequences of failure and the consequences of success. So that, clearly, like all managers, they should be given a reasonable period to achieve what they said they'd do on the tin. They should be clear as to what's going to happen if they don't. And if there are performance fees involved, and increasingly these fiduciary managers do want some sort of performance fee, they've got to be fair, they've got to be equitable, and people have got to understand when they apply, and so the consequences of success need to be understood too.
Well, thank you. I think that's very clear, but I'll be interested in the response of some of our members to that, and we'll get you some feedback.
Thank you.
If we can get some suitably provocative comments from them. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you found it stimulating, and as always, look forward to your feedback and comments on the site. And we will ensure that any suitable comments are passed back to Stuart for the right of reply. Goodbye.